Voice of Korea.
This is Voice of Korea.
This is Voice of Korea.
This is Voice of Korea.
Now we begin the English language transmission from Pyongyang, the capital of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea.
Authorized to publish Songs General Song. main chorus, Song of General Kim Jong-il.
To the entire party members, service persons of the People's Army and people. Our entire party members, People's Army service personnel and people. The Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea, the Central Military Commission of the party, and the National Defense Commission, the Presidium of the Supreme People's Assembly, and the Cabinet of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, inform you with deepest grief that the great leader Kim Jong-il, General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea, Chairman of the National Defense Commission of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, and Supreme Commander of the Korean People's Army, passed away from a sudden attack of illness on the road of field guidance at 8 hours 30 minutes on December 17th, 100 or 2011. Our great Kim Jong-il, who devoted his whole life to carry forward the revolutionary cause of Juche to completion and engaged himself in tireless and energetic activities for the prosperity of the socialist fatherland and the happiness of the people, for the reunification of the country and global independence, departed from us so suddenly to our greatest regret. It is the greatest loss of our party and revolution and the deepest grief of our people and the whole nation that the great leader of our party and people, Kim Jong-il, passed away unexpectedly at this historic time when a turning phase is being opened in accomplishing the cause of building a prosperous socialist nation, and our revolution is making a victorious advance through manifold difficulties and trials. Born as the son of guerrillas on Mount Hektu, the sacred mountain of revolution, Kim Jong-il grew to a great revolutionary, wisely led our party, army, and people for a long time, and performed immortal revolutionary exploits for the country and people, for the times and history. The great leader Kim Jong-il was an outstanding thinker and theoretician, and the greatest political veteran and most brilliant Sungun commander, who had all qualities and traits of a great man on the highest level, and led the revolution and construction along the road of victory with his profound idea of theory and uncommon leadership, and the peerless patriot and benevolent father of the people, to decorate the whole course of the revolutionary struggle with ardent love and lofty devotion for the country and people. Having set it as his lifelong mission to carry forward to completion the revolutionary cause of Juche pioneered by the great leader Kim Il-sung generation after generation, Kim Jong-il, as his closest comrade and most faithful comrade in arms, steadfastly advanced the revolution and construction according to the idea and intention of President Kim Il-sung. The great leader Kim Jong-il, with his far-sighted wisdom and energetic ideological and theoretical activities, fully developed in depth the immortal Juche idea and Sungun idea created by the fatherly leader Kim Il-sung, and glorified them as the guiding idea of the independent era, and resolutely defended the revolutionary traditions of the Pachter, and purely carried forward and developed them, and thus firmly ensured the lifeline of the Korean Revolution. Under the banner of modeling the whole society on the Juche idea, Kim Jong-il, genius of the revolution and construction, strengthened and developed our party, army, and state as the party, army, and state of President Kim Il-sung, put the dignity and power of the nation on the highest level, and opened a period of great prosperity unprecedented in the 5,000-year-long history of the country. Kim Jong-il, the supreme incarnation of the revolutionary moral obligation, creates a great example of the accomplishment of the cause of immortality of the leader unknown in the human history of politics. And let the noble name of the great leader Kim Il-sung and his immortal revolutionary life and exploits shine forever in the eternal history of Juche Korea. Great statesman and most brilliant commander Kim Jong-il honorably defended the gains of socialism, valued the legacy of the fatherly leader with his Sungun politics in the teeth of the cradle of the world socialist system, and from the greatest sorrow of the nation, the vicious stifling offensives of the imperialist allied forces against the Democratic People's Republic of Korea and harsh natural disasters, and turned our country into an invincible political ideological power with single-minded unity, and into a nuclear state, an invincible military power no enemy dares to challenge. The great leader Kim Jong-il, through the behest of the fatherly leader Kim Il-sung, presents the grand goal of building a great, prosperous, and powerful nation, and led the general march of the entire people for its realization, kindled the flames of great revolutionary upsurge throughout the country, and brought about great innovations and great leap forward on all fronts of socialist construction. Kim Jong-il, the father of the nation and lodestar of national reunification, with a firm will to carry out the great leader Kim Il-sung's instructions for national reunification, led all the fellow countrymen along the road of independence and great national unity, and opened the June 15th reunification year to realize the noble idea of by our nation itself. Kim Jong-il, great defense of socialism and justice, holding aloft the banner of independence against imperialism, conducted energetic external activities for the victory of the socialist cause and for peace and stability of the world and Frenchman unity between the peoples, remarkably enhanced the international position and prestige of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, and rendered immortal services to accomplishing the human cause of independence. In the whole period of his long revolutionary leadership, the great leader Kim Jong-il always shared will and woe with the people, treasuring and loving them most, and continued high-intensity post-march of field guidance, devoting tireless efforts for the building of a thriving nation and the improvement of the people's living, and passed away at work aboard a train due to its pent-up mental and physical fatigue. The whole life of great Kim Jong-il was the most brilliant life of a great revolutionary who covered an untrodden rugged path with iron will and superhuman energy, holding aloft the red flag of revolution, and the life of a peerless patriot who devoted his all to the country and people. The great leader Kim Jong-il passed away to our regret, without seeing the victory of the cause of building a prosperous nation, national reunification, and completion of the revolutionary cause of Juche he had desired so earnestly. But he laid a powerful political and military foundations for our revolution to vigorously advance generation after generation, and solid foundations for the eternal prosperity of our fatherland and nation. Standing in the van of the Korean Revolution is Kim Jong-un, the great successor to the revolutionary cause of Juche, an outstanding leader of our party, army, and people. The leadership of Kim Jong-un is a decisive guarantee to admirably carry forward and accomplish the revolutionary cause of Juche generation after generation, which was pioneered by the great leader President Kim Il-sung and victoriously led by the great leader Kim Jong-il. We have the invincible revolutionary army of Mount Baekdu supporting the cause of the party in the van. The great unity of the army and people firmly rallied around the party. The most superior Korean-style socialist system centered on the popular masses and solid foundations of the independent national economy. We must change the sorrow into strength and courage, and overcome today's difficulties, and wage a more vigorous struggle for another great victory in the Juche Revolution under the guidance of Kim Jong-un. Our army and people will hold the great leader Kim Jong-il in high esteem forever, with immutable faith and noble moral obligation, and true to his behest, will not make an inch of concession, an inch of deviation on the road of Juche Revolution, Sungun Revolution, but resolutely defend and glorify the immortal revolutionary exploits of Kim Jong-il for all ages. All the party members, service personnel of the People's Army and people should remain faithful to the leadership of respected Kim Jong-un and firmly defend and more impregnably consolidate the single-minded unity of the party, army, and people. Holding higher the banner of Sungun, we should strengthen the military might of the country in every way to firmly defend our socialist system and the gains of revolution, and more fiercely kindle the flames of the industrial revolution of the new century, the flames of great upsurge in South Hamgyong province across the country, and make a decisive turn in the building of an economic giant and the improvement of the people's living. We will soundly implement the 3 charters for national reunification and inter-Korean joint declarations, and thus achieve the independent reunification of the country with the united efforts of the whole nation. Our party and people will strengthen friendship and solidarity with the peoples of many countries of the world on the basis of the idea of independence, peace, and friendship, and actively struggle to build an independent and peaceful new world free from domination, subjugation, aggression, and war. The road of our revolution is arduous, and the situation is grave. But no force in the world cannot arrest the revolutionary advance of our party, army, and people under the wise guidance of great Kim Jong-un. Although the heart of the great leader Kim Jong-il stopped beating, his noble name and tender image will always remain in the hearts of our army and people, and his sacred revolutionary history and immortal revolutionary exploits will shine forever in the history of the country. The Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea, the Central Military Commission of the Workers' Party of Korea, the National Defense Commission of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, the Presidium of the Supreme People's Assembly of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, the Cabinet of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, December 17th, Juche 100 or 2011.
Members of the State Federal Commission for the Great Leader Kim Jong-il were formed. The members are 232, including Comrade Kim Jong-un, Kim Yong-nam, Choi Yong-nim, Lee Yong-ho, Kim Yong-chun, Sun Byung-ho, Kim Kuk-tae, Kim Ki-nam, Choi Tae-bok, Yang Hyung-suk, Kang Suk-ju, Pyun Yong-nip, Lee Yong-ho, Kim Kyung-hee, Kim Yang-gun, Kim Yong-il, Park Do-sun, Choi Ryong-hae, Kang Song-taek, Su Kyu-chang, Kim Rak-hee, Tae Song-su, Kim Pyung-hae, Kim Jung-gak, Woo Dong-suk, Kim Sang-suk, Moon Jung-duk, and Lee Tae-nam.
Communique of State Funeral Commission. For the whole party, all the army, and the entire people, to express the deepest condolences over the demise of the great leader Kim Jong-il and mourn him with the feelings of deep reverence, we inform of the following decisions. First, the coffin of the great leader Kim Jong-il will be laid in state at the Kumsusan Memorial Palace. Second, the period from December 17th to December 29th, Juche 100 or 2011, is set as the mourning period for the great leader Kim Jong-il, and the mourners will disappear from December 20th to December 27th, Juche 100 or 2011. Third, the morning service for the last parting with the great leader Kim Jong-il shall be held solemnly in Pyongyang, the capital of revolution, on December 28th, Juche 100 or 2011. Fourth, the national memorial meeting for the great leader Kim Jong-il will be held on December 29th, Juche 100 or 2011. At the time of the National Memorial Meeting in Pyongyang, artillery salute will be fired in Pyongyang and all provincial seats. The entire people across the country will observe a 3-minute silence, and all locomotives and ships sound whistles all at once in memory of the great leader Kim Jong-il. Fifth, during the morning period, morning services will be held at all the organs and enterprises across the country, and memorial services be held in all provinces, cities, and counties, while the national memorial meeting is held in Pyongyang. Sixth, during the morning period, organs and enterprises will hang the flag at half-mast, and all songs and dancing, games and amusement will be banned. Seventh, foreign morning delegation will not be received. December 17th, Juche 100 or 2011.
Medical conclusion on disease and cause of death of the great leader Kim Jong-il, General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea, Chairman of the National Defense Commission of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, and Supreme Commander of the Korean People's Army. The great leader Kim Jong-il has long received medical treatment for cardiac and cerebrovascular disease. Due to mental and physical fatigue pent up in the days of forced march of high intensity for the building of a thriving nation, he suffered from seriously acute myocardial infarction with the complication of a severe heart shock in the running train on December the 17th, Juche 100 or 2011. All emergency measures to cure him were taken immediately after the outbreak of the disease. But he passed away at 8 hours 30 minutes on December the 17th, 2100 or 2011. The diagnosis of the disease was completely confirmed in the pathological anatomic examination made on December the 18th, 2100 or 2011. December 18th, 2100 or 2011.
listeners, now is the time for broadcasting the reminiscences of the great leader President Kim Il-sung with the century. Today we'll bring you the first installment of Section 4, Village Headman 1 and Police Chief 1 of Chapter 19, Overcoming Trials. The Mongol Chinese friends who gave the Korean People's Revolutionary Army strong moral and material support in the latter half of the 1930s were two Chinese men surnamed Wang, serving in enemy institutions. One was the headman of the village of South-Hongo, Linjiang County, and the other was the chief of the party Manchester police station at Jiajiayin in the same county. The local people called the latter Police Chief Wang. How was it that these two Wangs were executing the Japanese colonial policy at the lowest rungs of the administrative ladder, came in touch with the Korean People's Revolutionary Army, sympathized with the anti-Japanese revolution, and finally came out in support? Political work with these Chinese was organized by the great leader himself after the outbreak of the Sino-Japanese War. The great leader commented let each of them only one. But he remembered them even after the lapse of many decades. I first heard about Village Headman 1 from Chu Tae-il, political instructor for the 5th Company of the 8th Regiment. On return from his work at South-Hongo, Linjiang County, which was under enemy control, Chu Tae-il gave me a detailed account of its Village Headman, saying that if we were to expand the Association for the Restoration of South-Hongo and its surrounding area, we should first win this man over. He had heard about the village headman from a man he had admitted to the party when he was party branch secretary at Yixingshan, Shandanggo, Helong County. The secret of this new member's identity got out by accident, and he was no longer able to stay in Helong. The party organization sent him to Linjiang into hiding since one of his relatives was said to be living in that county. He had moved into Patton Park near South-Hongo and was living a hand-to-mouth existence in it. Refusing to abandon his organizational activities, he was said to be rallying reliable people around him. When he met the company political instructor, Chu Tae-il, he asked him to put him in touch with the organization. I told the company political instructor to go and see him immediately at South-Hongo, form an organization with the people for whom he stood security, and then link them to the organizational line. The political instructor met him again, telling him that headquarters would help him in his work, and that he should try to expand the Association for the Restoration of the Fatherland organization. This was how one of our organizations was formed at South-Hongo. It was probably the first of the Association for the Restoration of the Fatherland organization we established in Linjiang County. I gave the political instructor an assignment in addition to win over Village Headman 1. But the name of the Village Headman got on our recruiting list. We learned about him in detail through the underground organization at South-Hongo over the next couple of years. Our work with Wang bore fruit in the spring of 1938. This was the time when we were moving to Changbin after finishing military and political training at South-Hongo. As we would be marching by way of South-Hongo, I decided to take time off and see the village headman on our arrival in Linjiang. While marching south toward Changbin, we went through the main pathway. When we reached the point about 1,000 kilometers from South-Hongo, our food supplies ran out, making it impossible for us to continue our march. The journey was too exhausting. In these circumstances, it would be impossible for the unit to go as far as Changbin. The men never forced to go on marching and fighting, but we had none. We might fight and capture food from the enemy, but the men were too exhausted to move, still less fight. It was then that I thought of settling the affair with Wang. I believed that if I succeeded in my work with him, I could not only obtain food, but create favorable conditions for activities as well. Near Guangzhou was a village by the name of Jiahuangou. The underground organization at Jiahuangou was also connected with a man who had been admitted to the party by political instructor Zhu Zeyin at Nixinshan. It was now in great danger. The organization had done a good job and was spreading offshoots to neighboring villages. But the enemy caught it by the tail and fell upon the village, killing the organization members and setting fire to their houses. Even old people and children were shot or stabbed with bayonets. The organization members and villagers who had escaped death fled to Jiahuangou, where their lives were in the hands of village headman Wang. At that time, Wang was also the chief of the self-defense corps. The fate of the organization members of Jiahuangou and refugees depended on Wang's attitude. That was another reason I felt it urgent to hurry up with my decision to win over Wang and obtain his support and assistance. That was the first informant of Section 4, Village Headman Wang and Police Chief Wang of Chapter 19, Overcoming Trial, from the reminiscences of the great leader President Kim Il-sung with the century. It is Voice of Korea.
Here is the main chorus of the state military chorus, General Kim Jong-il, Patriot. only cottage, no other land without you. Here is a mere chorus. Hold high the red flag. You will appreciate the male chorus. The genital is the son of the gorilla. Dear listeners, with this we conclude the English language service of Voice of Korea from the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Voice of Korea presents its English language service for Europe between 13 and 14 hours UTC, between 15 and 16 hours UTC, between 18 and 19 hours UTC, and between 21 and 22 hours UTC on 7,570 kHz and 12,015 kHz. For North America, between 13 and 14 hours UTC and between 15 and 16 hours UTC on 9,335 kHz and 11,710 kHz. And for Northeast Asia, between 1 and 2 hours UTC and between 3 and 4 hours UTC on 7,220 kHz, 9,345 kHz, and 9,730 kHz. Goodbye, this is Pyongyang.